Welcome back, you guys. It's Ron here with your stimulus package update and your second stimulus check update. I hope you guys are doing very well today on this Thursday, November 26th stimulus check update. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys out there and to all of your families. I hope you guys are doing very well today. I'll be sharing all the details with you guys on how a $330 million virus relief bill just passed and will be sending out one-time $1,200 stimulus payments. Also, the latest on the Fed's recent meeting on stimulus, the $454 billion that Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin has controversially put out of Janet Yellen's easy reach, or at least so it seems. And most importantly, talk on how Biden has recently been pushing Democrats to settle so that we can finally get a stimulus package out before the end of the year. So all that in today's video. So you definitely want to stick around to the end so you'll know exactly if you can expect a check for the holidays and where exactly Steve Mnuchin has been hiding that $454 billion. But first, I want to say welcome back to all my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. And for those of you guys who are brand new to the channel, my name is Ron. We cover all things personal finance, investing, how to generate multiple streams of income, and of course, stimulus check updates and stimulus package updates. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so that you know as soon as I release new videos and content. And, it's Thanksgiving and, there's only 36 days left to 2020. Can you guys, it's almost unbelievable. The year is almost over already. One of the most memorable years in recent history, to say the least, at least if you ask me. So if you haven't already, definitely hit the link in the description down below so that you can watch my free financial freedom movie where I share all of my credit hacks, my credit secrets, investing strategies, and tips so that you can actually retire early. So definitely check the link out in the description down below. But anyway, guys, let's jump into the content. All right, so the package is out, guys, or at least for New Mexico it is. The land of enchantment is repurposing $300 million in virus aid from the federal government to send out $1,200 stimulus checks to economically stressed workers to provide unemployment pay and ramp up testing. New Mexico lawmakers on Tuesday passed a bipartisan virus relief bill that will deliver a one-time $1,200 stimulus check to all types of unemployed workers and up to $50,000 for certain businesses. The bill will also give smaller stimulus checks to immigrants without legal status in this country and dependents, as well as additional funds for food banks, virus testing, and contact tracing efforts. This is in the middle of Republican lawmakers being unsuccessful in providing aid for low-income essential workers and Democrats saying federal guidelines would prevent such spending and promising to find ways during the regular session in January to address the issue. But it looks like New Mexico found a way, you guys. So most of the proposed spending will be made possible by federal relief funding previously assigned to New Mexico, including about $319 million in unspent funds that were expected to expire soon. Plus, an additional $10 million in state general funds were allocated for testing and tracing efforts. Of course, all of you guys, feel free to shout out your own state and local governments in the comments down below. I would love to know if there's any kind of local or state stimulus that you guys are aware of that you could share with me. That way I can share it with the community and make everyone aware of some of these harder to find programs like this one, because a lot of states and local governments are actually taking this stimulus money that was originally provided in the CARES Act and providing, stimulus checks to the American people, mortgage and rent assistance before they have to send this money back to the federal government at the end of the year. Now, on a larger scale, President-elect Joe Biden is rearing up to go and get started in his new office as he's reported to have been privately pushing top Democrats to compromise with Senate Republicans on a stimulus bill, even as he publicly calls for Congress to approve the House-passed HEROES Act. This shows his urgent concern about the possibility of a second virus-induced economic downturn, as he's also previously stated that, helping out the poor will be a top priority at the start of his administration. We can certainly hope that this executive pressure will result in a stimulus check much sooner than previously expected, especially since for months now, Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have demanded Congress to come together on a stimulus bill with a price tag of $2 trillion or higher, while Republicans have pretty much been stuck at a $500 billion counteroffer. Now, publicly, Biden has stood by Schumer and Pelosi calling for Congress to pass legislation like the HEROES Act, as recently as last week. Now, reports say that in private, Biden's aides are lobbying Democrats in Congress to lower their expectation for a next stimulus package in an effort to bring Senate Majority Leader Mitch Mcconnell back to the bargaining table. Now, looking at the data, new analysis from Goldman Sachs predicts that all of this will result in Congress passing a $700 billion stimulus package. Now, we all know that this stimulus package will definitely be a breath of fresh air, especially since virus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are rising across the country. And, health officials such as Dr. Fauci have warned new local stay-at-home orders are likely. And in the middle of this rampant pandemic, we have 140 million Americans who are poor or low income. We've got 92 million underinsured or uninsured altogether. We've got 50 million people going through food insecurity, meaning like 1 in 6 families are literally going hungry out there. I mean, just last week, 1.1 million Americans have filed for initial unemployment jobless claims, which was higher than the regular weekly average of 1 million or lower before. So, we're definitely trending in the wrong direction here, guys. You can really see the stark contrast between these numbers and the continuous rise of the Dow Jones in the stock market recently hitting the 30,000 point all-time high, and not to mention the billionaires class collectively increasing their wealth by $1 trillion. I mean, I really think some changes need to be made out here, and we're hoping that this will happen soon because the American people really need it. And $484 billion would definitely be a good start. This is where the news on Mnuchin comes in. So there's been some talk that, Steve Mnuchin has opted to put $454 billion out of reach for the next Treasury appointee and even the upcoming president. Now this, together with the latest on the Federal Reserve's plans about stimulus, I'll get to shortly, so definitely make sure you stick around for this one, guys. The Federal Reserve has just released the minutes of their most recent meeting about stimulus, and it shows both their impatience with Congress's stimulus talks and their high hopes for stimulus with Janet Yellen coming in. The minutes talk about ramping up purchases of treasury bonds and mortgage-backed securities to stimulate the economy. You can see this bond buying as a way to boost the economy from the Fed. This way, treasury bonds and mortgage-backed securities go up, thereby pushing interest rates, that is mortgage interest rates, credit card interest rates, car loans, and even business loans way down. Now, obviously, this won't be much help for those who are struggling since they won't have a very easy time getting a loan, but this is definitely going to prop up businesses and the real estate market. This shows that the Fed's hope that maybe higher stock prices and higher real estate prices and easier borrowing will eventually trickle down to workers and people who actually need the support. This also shows their frustration with Congress not getting their act together long enough to be able to pass a stimulus bill already. And Janet Yellen is expected to be named the Treasury Secretary by President-elect Joe Biden, and as a former Fed chief, we can certainly expect her to be more sympathetic to the Fed and also push for fiscal stimulus. Some market pros had expected the Fed to move in December on its bond program because Congress basically failed to approve more stimulus for the economy as the virus outbreak continues to worsen. Some have even speculated that the Fed could hold off on the bond program if it knows that Yellen is a strong advocate of other stimulus. So it definitely sounds like Janet Yellen's going to be a key player in all of this coming up in 2021. So here's Yellen for Yellen, right? All right, so now let's talk about that $454 billion under Mnuchin, right? So Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin will put $454 billion in unspent CARES Act funding into an account that his presumed successor, former Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen, will most probably need special authorization from Congress just to use it. The money's going to be placed in the agency's general fund. Now, most of it had gone to support Federal Reserve emergency lending facilities, and Mnuchin's clawback would basically make it impossible for Yellen as Treasury Secretary to just restore that for the purpose without lawmakers' blessings. Now, Mnuchin isn't required to move the money into the general fund, but the CARES Act indicates that the Treasury Department can maintain access to the money by just keeping it in the Exchange Stabilization Fund until 2026. Now, what that is it's a pot of money that can basically be used with some discretion by the Treasury chief. Now, this definitely puts Mnuchin under fire as Democrats quickly criticize this move, with Bharat Ramamurthy, a member of the congressionally appointed watchdog panel overseeing Fed and Treasury virus relief funds, basically saying, the good news is that it's illegal and it will be reversed next year. So basically what he's saying is Mnuchin's trying to make it a little bit more difficult for Janet Yellen. However, since it's going to be illegal, no one's really too worried about what he's doing. Now, if you ask me, the good news here is that there's $454 billion ready to use for the American people, just as soon as our lawmakers put aside their differences and, prioritize passing of the stimulus bill already, hopefully before the holidays. Not to mention, this $454 billion will actually make stimulus negotiations easier, stimulus checks sooner, PPE sooner, as well as unemployment boosts so much easier. At least the money's there, and that's definitely a start. So anyway, guys, that's all for the stimulus check update and stimulus package update. New Mexico's very own $330 million virus relief package, the latest on the Fed's recent meeting on stimulus, the $454 billion ready for the next stimulus package, and of course, how Biden has reportedly been recently pushing Democrats to settle so that we can finally get a stimulus package out before the end of the year. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel and definitely hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know as soon as I release new videos and content. And be sure to check out the pinned comment down below so that you can check out the free Financial Freedom movie if you want to enhance your learning on everything from credit, investing, and money management in the easiest way possible. I will see you guys in the next video, and of course, happy Thanksgiving. Take care.